that the monk Abba Garima copied the Gospels in one day after founding the Garima Monastery in northern Ethiopia, near Adwa. The two manuscripts comprise 670 pages in total, with 28 illustrated pages. Those illustrated pages include 4 portraits of the evangelists and a picture of the Temple of Solomon.
Everything we think we understand about the resurrection is missing crucial pieces. For almost 2,000 years, the story most of the world was taught ends the same way. The tomb is empty, the stone is rolled aside, and then silence. The story fades out. End credits. But that ending was never accepted everywhere. Far from Rome, deep within the stone monasteries of Ethiopia, a different account was carefully guarded. Ethiopian monks preserved an ancient Bible, one with 81 books, not 66, pages the Western world never included, verses never read from pulpits, teachings never preached, and within those pages is a resurrection passage unlike anything most people have ever heard. It doesn't just describe what happened after Jesus rose from the dead. It explains what changed, not only death, not only heaven, but the very nature of God, the purpose of the human soul, and humanity's direct access to truth itself. These words survived beyond church councils, beyond revisions, beyond political control, preserved in isolation, protected in silence, hidden in plain sight until now. And before we reveal what this ancient translation actually says, take a moment to like and subscribe, because this is the kind of knowledge some people would rather keep buried. An 81-book Bible that challenges everything we assume is settled. Most people believe the Bible is fixed, final, and untouchable. But the Ethiopian Orthodox Church never did. While the Western Bible settled on 66 books, Ethiopia preserved 81. That's 15 more than Protestant Bibles and 8 more than Catholic ones. And these aren't random additions. Many of them are among the oldest Christian writings ever used, texts that early believers respected long before they quietly disappeared from the Western tradition. Books like Enoch, Jubilees, and Maccabees. For centuries, Western scholars dismissed these writings as legends or myths. Then science entered the conversation. Radiocarbon dating of the Gara Gospels, discovered in an Ethiopian monastery, revealed they were written between 330 and 650 AD, making them the oldest illustrated Christian manuscripts in the world. While much of Europe was collapsing into chaos, Ethiopian monks were carefully preserving what could be called Christianity's original source material. And what these books contain is explosive. The Book of Enoch doesn't simply say humanity sinned before the flood, it explains why. It describes a cosmic rupture. 200 watcher angels descending to earth, taking human wives and producing hybrid beings known as the Nephilim, giants who consumed and corrupted the world. The text even names them Samyaza, Azazel, Barakiel. According to Enoch, these beings didn't just rebel. They taught forbidden knowledge, how to make weapons, how to manipulate desire, how to read the stars. This wasn't simple disobedience. It was unauthorized knowledge given to humanity, and that's precisely why the Roman Church rejected the book. The world Enoch describes isn't orderly or safe. It's unstable, dangerous, and impossible to control. So it was removed. Ethiopia preserved it. And the Book of Enoch is only the beginning. The real shock comes from a resurrection text known as Mashafakan, the Book of the Covenant. In Western tradition, Jesus appears briefly after rising, offers a few final moments, and then departs. But in the Ethiopian tradition, he remains for 40 days, and he doesn't deliver sermons. He gives instructions. He speaks about hidden structures of reality, knowledge that doesn't flow through religious institutions or hierarchies. He talks about nature, frequencies, spiritual forces, and an end times conflict that isn't fought with weapons or armies, but with awareness. The tone of these teachings is mystical, urgent, and deeply empowering. And Ethiopian monks hold a belief that many consider radical, that the 81-book canon represents the narrow gate, while the 66-book Bible is the wide path, simplified for the masses. If they're right, then the Bible most of the world reads isn't just incomplete, it's edited, And now, as these ancient texts are translated and released, something long-sealed is opening. These are no longer safe, symbolic stories. They're raw source material. And if accounts of giants and fallen angels already sound hard to believe, wait until you hear what Jesus actually said during those 40 hidden days, decoding the secret of the 40 days. In the Gospel of Luke, the time between the resurrection and the ascension passes quickly, almost like a footnote. But in the Ethiopian text known as Mashafakan, those 40 days become the central focus. This is where everything changes. This is where the guardrails come off. According to these writings, the risen Christ gathers his disciples not merely to reassure them, but to prepare them for a spiritual conflict. He speaks of something called the builder of shadows, a concept that completely reframes how reality itself works. He explains that the material world, the pursuit of wealth, status, power, and earthly empires, is largely controlled by a deceptive force. And then he delivers a warning. Do not build temples of stone, for stone will fall. Build the temple of the heart, for it alone endures. On the surface, it sounds poetic. But within the Ethiopian tradition, this is not metaphor. It is instruction. He is cautioning them against organized religion itself. He foretells a time when men will wear elaborate robes, speak in his name, and use it to gather gold and authority. He even warns of a future Rome that will turn his cross into a weapon. That level of precision unsettles scholars. It's as if he's seeing 2,000 years ahead, anticipating the Crusades, the Inquisitions, and even modern megachurches. He tells the disciples that a true believer must remain a stranger to the systems built by men. But then comes the twist. He introduces a dual understanding of the human soul, one that feels less symbolic and more biological in nature. He says that every human being has two winds moving through them, the wind of life and the wind of error. And the wind of error isn't just negative thinking. It's described as something invasive, almost like a parasite. It enters through greed, through the eyes when they linger where they shouldn't, through the mouth when it speaks what isn't true. Once it takes hold, it hardens the heart. It turns a living person into what he calls a walking tomb. Pause on that for a moment. A walking tomb. Someone who breathes, eats, works, and speaks, yet spiritually, they are already empty. It's a kind of soul-level apocalypse, not zombies of the body, but of the inner life. And here's the part no one expects. He doesn't offer a ritual. He doesn't demand offerings or payment. He gives them an antidote, gnosis, knowledge. He teaches them to observe their thoughts the way a guard watches a gate, to notice what enters and what doesn't belong. He tells them the kingdom of heaven isn't somewhere far away. It exists inside their own body, hidden in the stillness between thoughts. This is why the Roman Empire couldn't allow this text to spread. Rome needed compliant citizens, people who feared emperors and bowed to religious authority. What it didn't need was self-aware mystics who believed the church was optional. Because once you believe God lives within you, you don't pay tribute to temples, you don't submit to bishops, and you become impossible to control. The Book of the Covenant also dives into strange and detailed ideas about the structure of the universe. Jesus speaks of storehouses of snow and gates that release the winds. For a long time, these descriptions were brushed off as symbolic or poetic imagery. But modern science tells a different story. Meteorology now shows that weather moves through massive global systems, literal rivers of air circling the planet. Winds with defined paths, sources, and boundaries. So how did a text written nearly 2,000 years ago describe atmospheric dynamics with such accuracy? Then there's another detail. He speaks of a vast abyss of water beneath the earth. Once again, critics laughed, until science caught up. Researchers recently discovered a massive underground ocean locked inside ringwoodite deep within the Earth's mantle. An amount of water greater than all the oceans on the surface combined. The Ethiopian Bible was right. There is an abyss of water beneath us. Moments like these add a level of credibility that's difficult to dismiss. And if the text was accurate about the winds and the waters, it raises an uncomfortable question. Could it also be right about the spiritual parasite? The tone of these 40 days is urgent. This isn't the gentle, turn the other cheek voice of the Sermon on the Mount. This is the voice of a commander delivering final instructions before leaving the battlefield. At one point, he issues a chilling warning. The darkness will come and it will wear my face. That single line is the most unsettling in the entire text. It suggests that ultimate evil won't appear as something monstrous or obvious. It will look familiar, it will look holy, it will look like Christianity itself, like a savior, and it will deceive the world by perfectly imitating what it is meant to destroy. This idea aligns with traditional Antichrist theories, but it makes them far more subtle and far more dangerous. It implies that deception isn't coming someday. It may already be embedded within the very institutions people trust most. But he doesn't leave the disciples with warnings alone. He gives them a weapon, a secret practice taught only to the inner circle, one involving controlled breathing and focused awareness. A method strikingly similar to advanced meditation techniques found in Eastern traditions. This is where the Isa theory enters, the idea that Jesus spent his lost years in India or Tibet. The teachings preserved in the Ethiopian Bible feel unmistakably Eastern, concepts resembling karma, reincarnation, inner energy centers, all present but hidden beneath ancient language and symbolism. And once you see it, it becomes impossible to unsee. So now we're left with something unsettling, a hidden book, a warning about a counterfeit church, and detailed instructions for awakening inner power. But if Jesus eventually left, where did the physical evidence of that power go? The answer may lie inside a small stone chapel that no one is ever allowed to enter. And this explains why Hitler, global empires, and secret societies never managed to claim it. You can't talk about Ethiopia without talking about the Ark of the Covenant. Movies claim it vanished in Egypt. Ethiopians say that's pure fiction. Nearly every Ethiopian believes the Ark is still here, sealed inside the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in the ancient city of Aksum. And this isn't folklore. It's the foundation of their civilization. The story begins with the Queen of Sheba. She journeys to Jerusalem, meets King Solomon, and returns home carrying his son, Menelik I. Years later, Menelik travels to meet his father. Solomon offers him the throne. Menelik refuses, but he doesn't leave empty-handed. According to Ethiopia's royal chronicle, the Kebra Nagast, Menelik and his companions execute one of the boldest acts in history. They replace the Ark of the Covenant with an identical replica and secretly transport the real Ark to Ethiopia. And the Ark isn't just a gold-covered box. Biblical descriptions portray it as a weapon. It burns armies, releases fire, and kills anyone who approaches it improperly. The effects sound disturbingly modern, closer to radiation than mythology. Here's where things get disturbing. The Ark's guardian today, only one man at a time, is forbidden to ever leave the chapel, for life. Visitors report that these guardians often develop cataracts, lose their eyesight, their skin grows pale, and many die young. Why would a wooden chest do that? Unless it isn't just wood. Some believe the Ark is ancient high-energy technology. Others think it's a communication device, something far older than religion itself. Whatever it is, Ethiopia has guarded it for over 3,000 years and defended it at all costs. Ethiopia is also the only African nation that was never colonized. When Italy invaded in 1896 with modern weapons, Ethiopian forces somehow defeated them at the Battle of Adwa. Locals say St. George rode alongside the soldiers. Others whisper something far more unsettling, that the Ark was brought near the battlefield, releasing a blinding force that turned the tide. Even secret orders seem to know. In the 12th century, the Knights Templar travelled to Ethiopia searching for the Ark. Their symbols are still carved into the stone churches of Lalibela. They believed the Holy Grail was never a cup, it was a bloodline, and the Ark was the proof. Ethiopia's emperors ruled through the Solomonic dynasty for nearly 3,000 years, claiming direct descent from Solomon and the line of David. Which means while Europe worshipped Jesus as a distant god, Ethiopia was ruled by those who claimed to be his relatives. If the Ark is real, and if it truly rests in Axum, then biblical authority doesn't point to Rome. It points to a quiet town in Africa, and the mystery doesn't end there. South of Axum, entire churches were carved straight down into solid rock. Not built, excavated. Locals say humans worked during the day and angels finished the work at night. Perfectly cut stone churches dating back to the 1200s, carved with a precision that still defies explanation. Welcome to Lalibela. This is the place that makes archaeologists pause and then quietly walk away. In the 12th century, King Lalibela ordered the creation of 11 churches, but not by stacking stones or laying bricks. He commanded that they be carved directly out of solid volcanic rock. These aren't caves. They are full-scale cathedrals, complete with windows, doors, columns, stairways, and advanced drainage systems, all sculpted from a single mass of stone. What makes this even harder to grasp is that it's a negative sculpture. You don't build it up. You imagine the entire structure in 3 dimensions, then remove everything that isn't the church. One mistake, one fractured pillar, and the entire project fails. You can't reattach stone once it's gone. Now, here's the part that sounds impossible. According to tradition, all 11 churches were completed in just 24 years. Modern engineers have done the math. Using hand tools, chisels and hammers, it would have required 40,000 workers working for more than a century. And that's not counting the logistics of removing millions of tons of rock, which today would require fleets of trucks. Yet there's no trace of the debris. The stone simply vanished. Local legend offers an explanation that refuses to be dismissed. Monks say human laborers worked during the day, but at night, angels descended and continued the work. They say the angels moved twice as fast and used tools of light that cut through volcanic rock as if it was soft clay. Tools of light. Does that sound like medieval chisels, or something closer to directed energy? Some researchers suggest that the Ark of the Covenant may have been brought to Lalibela during this period, used as a power source or even as a device to alter the stone itself. Other ancient cultures speak of stones softened by sound frequencies or chemical methods. Could Ethiopia have possessed a lost technology? The most famous structure is the Church of St. George, a perfectly formed cross carved straight down into the earth. Its roof sits at ground level. You don't walk into it, you look down into it. The precision is almost laser perfect, and its drainage system is so advanced that after more than 800 years of heavy rain, the church has never flooded. Then there are the tunnels. Beneath the complex lies a maze of pitch-black passageways meant to symbolize a descent into hell. Candidates for the priesthood must navigate these tunnels in total darkness, feeling their way along stone walls for hours while chanting. It's a sensory deprivation chamber carved entirely from rock. This connects directly back to the Book of the Covenant and its teachings about the darkness of the tomb. The architecture doesn't just house theology, it teaches it. You must pass through darkness to reach the light. But recent 3D laser scans revealed something even more unsettling. Beneath the floors are anomalies, hollow chambers that haven't been opened in over 800 years. What's inside? The priests say it's the treasury of the saints. Gold manuscripts, sacred relics, or perhaps the very tools used to build the site. The world obsesses over the pyramids of Egypt, but Lalibela may be even more complex. The pyramids are constructed by addition, stacking blocks. Lalibela was created by subtraction. That level of precision demands planning so exact it feels almost computational. And here's one last detail most people miss. King Lalibela spent time in Jerusalem before it fell to Muslim rule, which raises an uncomfortable question. What knowledge did he bring back with him? His goal was to create a new Jerusalem in Africa, a place beyond the endless wars of the Middle East. He even renamed the river running through the city the Jordan. This wasn't just church building, it was preparation. Lalibela was designed as a spiritual bunker, a fortress meant to safeguard the faith while the rest of the world collapsed into conflict. And it worked. While European cathedrals were reduced to rubble during the world wars, Lalibela remained untouched. But the stone walls hide one final secret. Carved into them are symbols that don't usually appear together. The Star of David, the Christian cross, and the swastika, an ancient solar symbol long before it was twisted by the Nazis. These carvings reveal a fusion of traditions, an Eastern connection, and sacred geometry aligned with the stars. Ethiopia didn't just preserve books, they preserved knowledge, including knowledge of how to shape matter itself. Yet the deepest secret isn't about stone or relics, it's about blood. In the West, Jesus stands alone. No wife, no children, no lineage. The story ends at the cross. But in the East, and especially in Ethiopia, that idea feels incomplete. Family is central. Bloodlines matter. Ethiopia's Solomonic dynasty didn't rule for a few centuries. It ruled for nearly 3,000 years, from around 900 BC until 1974. One unbroken royal line. The final emperor, Haile Selassie, was the 225th ruler in that chain, known as the Conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. That title wasn't poetic. It was a legal claim to descent from King David. Follow that lineage, and it doesn't just connect Ethiopia to the Old Testament. It overlaps uncomfortably with the New. If Mary came from the house of David and Ethiopia's kings claimed the same lineage, then they weren't outsiders. They were family. This is why Rastafarians saw Haile Selassie as the returned Messiah. Revelation speaks of the Lion of Judah, and they believed they were witnessing him. Selassie never claimed divinity, but he understood the weight of ancestry. And now, science has entered the picture. Genetic studies show that many Ethiopians carry ancient DNA from the Levant, modern Israel and Syria, dating back roughly 3,000 years. This wasn't myth, it was migration, real people moving from Jerusalem into Africa. The legends were grounded in history. This also explains why Ethiopian Christianity feels so different. They preserved Jewish laws, dietary rules, circumcision on the 8th day, observance of the Saturday Sabbath. Their faith is a seamless blend of old and new, possibly what Christianity looked like before Rome reshaped it. They didn't need conversion, they were already insiders. And that leads to the most controversial idea of all. Some ancient texts suggest Jesus may not have died on the cross. If he escaped, Ethiopia would have been the safest refugee imaginable, a kingdom ruled by his extended family. Even today, oral traditions in the remote highlands speak of a mysterious teacher from the north, a healer, a man of peace. They don't call him Jesus, they call him the righteous teacher. So what if the West has been searching in the wrong land all along? What if the true legacy of Jesus isn't buried in Galilee, but still alive in Africa? As Ethiopian monks say, the West has the water, we have the well, and the watchers are returning. The timing is not accidental, so ask yourself this: why now? Why are these texts emerging after 2,000 years of silence? For centuries, they were hidden in mountain monasteries, wrapped in goatskin, guarded by men who would rather die than let outsiders touch them. They survived insects, invasions, and empires, total isolation. And then suddenly, the seal breaks. In just the last few years, these books have exploded onto the world stage. And once they're seen, they can't be unseen. Unauthorized translations are spreading faster than scholars can contain them. The YouTube algorithm pushes these ideas to millions of people. And now you're hearing about the Book of the Covenant sandwiched between memes and breaking news. That's not random. According to the most radical interpretations, these texts contain something like an emergency protocol for humanity, a final safeguard designed to activate only at a very specific point in history. They describe the end times as an era of illusionary webs. In the original language, it points to a world that is hyperconnected yet unreal, a place where people speak without mouths and see without eyes. It's hard not to think of the internet or artificial intelligence. The idea is unsettling. Ethiopian monks weren't just protecting scripture, they were guarding a break-glass manual for the digital age. The prophecy says that when humanity becomes lost inside manufactured realities, hidden truth must be released to fracture the illusion. And look around. Trust in governments is collapsing. Trust in media is fading. Faith in organized religion is falling apart. People aren't starving for food, they're starving for meaning. They don't want platforms or priests, they want direct understanding. That's why these texts land like gasoline on an open flame. They confirm a feeling millions have carried since childhood, that something was missing, that the story was edited, that Sunday school taught the safe version. Here's the truly controversial idea. The Council of Nicaea didn't just remove books to simplify scripture, it removed them to disarm humanity. The Ethiopian texts describe humans not as weak followers, but as powerful beings caught in a cosmic conflict. They speak openly about the Watchers, fallen entities that altered humanity, and about ancient technologies we are only now beginning to rediscover. By cutting those books, the West stripped away the armor. Ethiopia never did. They kept the complete version while the rest of the world received a simplified one. And this is where things become even more unsettling. These manuscripts don't read like spiritual poetry alone. Some passages resemble lost physics. Researchers point to descriptions that sound like acoustic levitation, using sound and vibration to influence matter itself. And then they point to one place, Lalibela, carved stone that shouldn't exist, precision that defies the tools of its age. Maybe these texts weren't just meant to be read. Maybe they were meant to be used. Those churches weren't constructed. They were carved straight down into solid rock. Legends say angels worked through the night. But what if angels was simply ancient language for a lost technology? Sound frequencies capable of softening stone. Methods forgotten, not mythical. If that's true, then the Book of the Covenant isn't just a spiritual text. It's technical. It could help explain the pyramids, the so-called manna machine, even the Ark of the Covenant, which Ethiopia still claims is real and heavily guarded in Axum. And if modern translations are beginning to reveal how these systems actually functioned, then this isn't a religious revival at all. It's the return of pre-flood science. So here's the question that should linger in your mind. If emperors rewrote history to control the past, what else are they still hiding? Are you ready to read the forbidden chapters, or is the truth too dangerous? Hit like if you want more hidden history. Subscribe if you're ready to join the search for what was never meant to be found.